How are you today? I had a couple of requests from a group that I work with monthly, a group of lovely people, and so today is about healing, and I'm going to explain the fundamentals of healing, which will allow you to have your own inner physician switching on inside of you, whatever you're going through right now, or are afraid that you might. This will help tremendously, and that'll work whether you're taking regular medicine, allopathic medicine, or whether you're taking natural remedies, or whether you go to healers or not. And so it's very simple. The healing, let's first start by saying that illness is not a design of nature. It's not a design of that which created us, which for this video I will call natural intelligence. Natural intelligence, self-organizing intelligence, divine intelligence, creative force, to me are all the same thing, right? And so healing is our birthright. Health, better said, is our birthright. And so when we have a health problem or are worried that we might get one, it's literally the programming in us that is linked to something we fear, or something we've heard, or something that we are anticipating, or something that we need to look at because there's aspects in us that we haven't unpacked, or that some things are hereditary, we're told, but we know today through epigenetics that fewer illnesses are immovable. Most things can be healed. And so the principle of healing is this: even when you see a healer, or even we can put a doctor in there who might prescribe something that might actually work, because that happens as well. Everything comes from nature in the first place and then was more or less diluted. But when you go basically and put your trust in somebody else's hands, because this is what happens when we go and see somebody for something, what happens is the trust that we could have in natural intelligence is put to somebody else. So let's just talk about a healer right now. Any healer is unable to heal anyone. No healer can heal anyone. Yes, I repeat, no healer can heal anyone. I used to do it like maybe 30 years ago. And I stopped a very long time ago because I prefer to share tools with you than to remove anything from you. Plus, it's not really possible, and I'll explain why. Healing comes from trust. And as I said, when you go and see a healer, you suddenly trust the healer. And the healer, let's use an example, might say, okay, for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to do a healing on you now, which is very nice. Having hands put over one's body is wonderful. And then that's not an actual prescription, so please don't follow it. I'm going to ask you to eat the quarter of an orange, which would have marinated in ginger overnight for 3 weeks, and in 3 weeks you'll be healed. And you do that for 3 weeks, and long behold, in 3 weeks you're healed. What happened? What happened is that you trusted what the healer said enough for your conscious mind to park itself aside and allow natural intelligence, which is already running your body right now. It's an extremely complex affair to keep a human being alive. It's an extraordinary, intricate, feat of divine creation, a human being. And so there's a lot going on in there. There's heart beating, blood filtering, breathing, etc. And all of that is run independently, thank God you might say, from the conscious mind. Because if we had to remember to breathe, we would all be dead a long time ago. So that natural force, remember, natural intelligence, self-organizing intelligence, whatever you'd like to call it, is already running you, right? Just as surely as your heart will beat in the next minute. And so that trust of leaning, allowing, are nice words, leaning, allowing, trusting that natural intelligence, which is already taking care of you, is where the healing comes from. And the only thing is that whether you trust the person you're going to see or not. And when the trust is there, what happens within the human being is that the cognitive mind that says, well, that's not possible, I have this, I was told it's, irreversible, or it's hard to shift, all of these are the programs. And I have huge respect for every profession. Each profession is wonderful, but it was also loaded with lots of programming, and we're finding out, as is wonderful, so much more, that so much more is possible now. As I said, with, for example, the help of epigenetics, we know that there is nothing, almost nothing immutable in the genes, and so everything can be transformed by what or who? Transformed by natural intelligence, when we allow it to run our physiology, rather than the mind who puts up a block and says, not possible, I've had it forever, it's been in my family for eons, etc. So the other thing that you want to look at also for illness, and that's an interesting factor, is if you're holding on to it in some way, a little bit like, something that is giving you maybe attention from other people, or love or care, etc. This is worth exploring as well, and something you can learn to let go of, so you can allow the bigger you to expand, the inner being which is inside of you to expand and take over and receive love, support, etc., as much and even possibly more, but just in a different way. So that's everything I want to say on healing for now. It's just a matter of trust. Of course, if you have a method, and I work with several modalities, if you work with a method where you learn to park your own intellect outside, out the way, sorry, not outside, you can allow this natural intelligence to do its work, basically, unencumbered by the thought forms, the mental programming that says, everything that's not so good for you, that it's not possible, etc. Most things are possible, but it takes quite a lot of work to retrain the mind, and therefore the body mind, which has huge memory, and of course the emotions, without which none of it is possible to be retrained. So that's for you for today. Much love. See you soon. Aloha. Take care.